Hi, I'm Susan. Welcome to Tea and Games. It's been a while. Um, Tea today is something different I'm trying out, which, yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't get a lot of it because this is not something I'd want to drink every day. Excuse me, my voice is a little hoarse. I am trying out the Harney and Sons Black Cask Bourbon Black Tea. It's Whoa, oh, you can get high off the fumes. It's kind of got a bourbon thing going on, but it's also very smoky, um, like bourbon barrel aged booze, basically. But the main thing I'm getting, oddly enough, is tree. It it tastes very woodsy, like like when you rip open a bag of bark mulch, that smell, um, and or a bag of compost that's got like way too much tree chippings in it or something like that. But it's very I like it. It's just not something that I want to drink very often. You may have noticed that it says 20 sachets in here, which means 20 tea bags. So it's like a big tin with not a lot of tea bags in it, and that is okay. I think 20 is probably just about the right amount for me to have a cup of this every now and then. But yeah, it's very interesting. It says that it is smoky with vanilla and caramel. I'm not really getting the vanilla and caramel. Like I said, I'm mostly just getting smoke and wood and bourbon, smoke wood and bourbon. And that's actually a really kind of interesting combination in itself. I'm not really sure how much the vanilla and caramel contributed to the balance of this, but nice. Anyhow, uh, we've been playing some games, and a lot has happened since the last time I talked to y'all. There have been tariffs. Right now, as of this recording, the tariffs on anything coming from China is 145% here in the US, which is pretty much gutting the board game industry here as well as the toy industry. I saw a headline this morning that toy manufacturers are putting a hold on all of their Christmas orders from China because they're not sure what's going on. Uh, so, um, and a lot of board game companies are in trouble, and a lot of board game distributors are in trouble. My favorite online board game place I used to order from, Boardlandia, has gone out of business. Um, so that was a thing, and a number of other small companies are cutting back on things. If you have a favorite local game store, patronize them to the extent that you can afford to, because times are tough and they're going to get tougher, because right now people are still buying and selling from the existing inventory, what they have on the shelves, what they've got in the warehouse, if they're like a big distributor or something. So if there's like a small game store near you, if you can afford to support them in some way, do so. If there is a game publisher that you just really love, and you've just like, it's like you're saying, well, whatever their new game is, I'm getting it because I just love their stuff. We love Red Raven Games, for instance. Um, but they're also a publisher and designer. But I mean, if there's particularly smaller ones, if there are board game people that you really like, look around online, see if there's some way that you can like support them to the extent you are able. Because here's the thing, board games are expensive. This is an expensive hobby. And now suddenly a lot of people, I feel like, are going to be priced out of buying games because of the tariffs. And it's going to make those small, cheap games that you just buy without even hardly missing the cash, the little tiny things, it's like, and suddenly you're looking at those and going like, wow, that's really no longer worth it. And the mid-level games, I'm kind of worried about those too. The family games, the family weight games, 145% tariff is going to mean that there's a lot of families that are not going to be able to afford board games or toys for Christmas. I'm hoping all this goes away before the Christmas season. Otherwise, we could be looking at a real Grinchy kind of situation here, in which basically Christmas will just be all love and joy, but no presents. So we are living in interesting times. And I'm hoping that the board game designers and publishers and distributors in small game stores will be able to get through it. But it's not pretty. So anyhow, what have we been playing? Well, we had looked at this at our friendly local game store and not gotten it over Christmas time when I was buying a bunch of games at Christmas because I knew tariffs were coming. But yeah, there is Ticket to Ride Nordic Countries. Now, I played the digital version of this, some years ago. And I didn't really like how tight the board was. But maybe I've just kind of come around to it. This game is kind of hitting the sweet spot for us. We're looking at this and we're saying, yeah, we're not going to just leave this to winter time. I could see this getting, with the wintry theme, getting a lot of play in August because I live in Texas. August here is got brutal heat. But this game is made for 2 to 3 players. It is a bigger board and a bigger game than what you would get with Ticket to Ride city games like London or New York or something like that. Those are like little tiny tight boards. This has more board than those do. It's got more going on, but at the same time, it's not as big, sprawling, and leisurely as something like Europe. I mean, Europe at 2 players, you can go anywhere and do anything and you'll never have to use stations. But this makes the game a little bit tighter than what you would get with the regular Ticket to Ride or Europe, some of those big boards with lots of long routes. But at the same time, it's not quite as and I can't go anywhere or do anything that you get with the small city boxes. So it's kind of maybe perfect. And I like the color scheme too. It's very pretty, very, very pretty. And it's kind of Christmassy theme. I think there's some reference to Santa or Christmas or workshops or something on the tickets. I don't even remember now. I just kind of noted it and moved on. But yeah, we're enjoying this. This has the potential, I think, to possibly unseat Europe as our favorite Ticket to Ride. But I don't know. We love our anniversary edition of Europe so very much. It may not. But I think it could at the very least come a close second. So we got this from our friendly local game store recently, and we are very pleased. What else have we got and been playing? Well, I picked up Solstice at Barnes & Noble, and I think I may have mentioned this in the previous video. And this is a little tiny 2-player tile laying kind of game, and we have been playing Solstice. I've been playing it both on Board Game Arena and also on the table, and it's not wearing well. The more I play it, the less interested I am in playing it. It doesn't feel satisfying in some way, and we've noticed that it can be very swingy. There have been games where one person got all of the beacons. There was one game where I got all of the cards on one entire row, which meant that my opponent would not be able to ever connect anything to the top. There have been games that were just really fell flat, where it's like the way the tiles came out and the way they did them, we both ended up with just a bunch of small chunks that we weren't doing very well with. I don't know. It seems like we've had games that just went really well, and I've looked down at my tableau and I've been very pleased. But that's and whether I win or lose, be very pleased, because it just feels very satisfying. I got a nice chunk of tiles. I was able to connect some stuff, but I don't know. I'm feeling like that's just not happening as much as what I would like. I have this kind of weird feeling after I finish a game of Solstice where I find myself thinking, wow, I really need to get this to the table with more players. This would be so much better with more players. Which is, you know, kind of typical for games that are made for 4 players and you're playing them at 2 and you're going like, yeah, this is pretty good, but it'd be even better with more players. But this is a 2-player game. And at the end of the game, I find myself thinking, I really wish this game had more tiles and accommodated more players, but it doesn't. So I'm not sure about this. I'm thinking that this is not going to be, it's going to be one of those things we're going to play. We're going to play a lot for a little while, and then it's just going to kind of drop off the radar. And that happens with games. And now some of you may think that this is a lifetime game that you're going to play every day for the rest of your life. And I think it has a solo mode, doesn't it? Yeah, it has a solo mode, and some of you may like it better that way. We also have been playing Beacon Patrol at 2 players. It is a co-op tile laying game, and we love us some tile laying games. Y'all know that. And I heard so many good things about it, about how chill and relaxed and fun and just pleasant the game was. And it was not pleasant. And after about, maybe 4 games of it just being excruciating, we discovered we'd been playing it wrong. So yeah, just put a big hash fail across my face. Now that we are playing it correctly, we are enjoying it a whole lot more. But yeah, I like it pretty well at 2 players. But I'm thinking actually the sweet spot for this game may be 3 players. And here's my reason why. And I have not yet tried it at 3. Part of being able to do super well with this game has to do with optimizing the trades of tiles between players. At 3 players, there is the maximum number of tiles in each player's hand around the table. So there's like the maximum number of tiles that people can trade between and figure out ways to optimize stuff. So what I'm looking forward to with this is I'm looking forward to trying it out with 3, but we are enjoying the heck out of it at 2. And I understand the solo game is pretty good too, but we are liking it a lot at 2 now that we're playing it correctly. But if any of y'all have played it at 3, let me know how it goes in comments, because I am very curious about this at 3 players because of those just a little bit extra tiles, because there have been times where we played the game and we're going like, yeah, if we had just, I don't know, 1 or 2 more tiles to choose from in terms of making trades and stuff, that we could have done significantly better because we just kind of gotten stuck in certain things. So yeah, I want to try that at 3. It's really good at 2, and we are enjoying it as a co-op game at 2 players, and we do like tile laying. But yeah, I'm very curious about 3, especially now that we're playing it right. I picked up Solstice, going back to this, I picked this up at our local Barnes & Noble, so if your Barnes & Noble has a whole bunch of small games squirreled away, like stacked on shelves, it would be worthwhile rummaging through those to see if they've got it, if you are interested in that. And I went back to that because I also picked up this at Barnes & Noble, just an impulse purchase. This is, Bicycle actually makes a deck of cards, which is a double 9 domino set. I don't really know much about dominoes. My grandmother had a set of dominoes that I played with when I was a kid, just not actually playing against anybody, but just laying dominoes down in different configurations. But you can play double 9 dominoes because the cards, that's what the cards look like. So yeah, and it does have, you can like scan a QR code, and on the bicycle site they have rules for this. They also have rules for a ton of playing card games. But I thought this was kind of interesting because I don't actually have a set of dominoes right now, and I thought that we would mess around with this a little bit, and we did. And I think it's safe to say we're not very good at dominoes. But there are a lot of games that we're not very good at, but it does not stop us from enjoying ourselves. What else have we got? Another one I picked up at Barnes & Noble amongst their small games is, take this out, because I took it out of the box. It's 5 crowns. It comes in like a box like this that's so deep, and I just put it into a deck box, fits into a standard deck box. 5 crowns is kind of like if Rummy and Quiddler had a child. That would be 5 crowns. 5 crowns, the game mechanics, how you play it, is exactly like Quiddler. Like you deal out with each round successively more cards. And you try to make the way it comes into Rummy is like you try to make runs of numbers in the same suit sequentially, or sets of cards that are all the same number, and there are various wild cards, and whatever round you're on, the number of cards in your hand, that number card is wild for that term, in addition to the jokers. Now, what makes this different from, say, like just playing Rummy with a deck of cards is it's called 5 crowns for a reason. There are actually 5 suits. The other suit is, the 5th suit is stars. So you have hearts. Here's diamonds. Here's clubs. Let me see if I can pull out some hearts here, show you what heart, here's what the Joker looks like. But yeah, and it's spades. I like the artwork on these cards. And here's some hearts. I like the artwork. The face cards are very nice. They're very pretty. And it's basically 2 decks of cards plus jokers plus an extra suit. So that kind of keeps it interesting. But it's a fun little game. If you play games with people who are not board gamers, or older people who maybe just know playing card games, this is so playing card adjacent. I mean, anybody who knows like a playing card game like Rummy or Gin or something like that, they could play this. So it's a lot of fun. We've enjoying it. It's just one of those kind of things. It is also, I would say, a very social game, because one of the things about those old playing card games is that people can just sit around and talk while they're playing games, because you're just draw and discard, you're trying to make the sets in your hand and that kind of thing. And also with this, as with Quiddler, at the end of each round, the whole whopping deck gets shuffled. So you can just sit there and chat while you're shuffling the cards and everything. It's a very good game to play if you want to actually have like conversations with people while you're playing, conversations that are not necessarily related to the game. But yeah, we're enjoying that. I found out about it from a user on Tumblr, actually. So that is one more small thing we are playing. We also got the physical copy of Mountain Goats because we have both been playing it a lot on Board Game Arena. And there's an interesting thing about the difference between this one and Board Game Arena. On Board Game Arena, you can play up to 5 players, even if you don't click to have the Big Mountain expansion added. You can add the Big Mountain expansion on Board Game Arena, but you can play with 5. And the Big Mountain expansion itself says that you can add the 5th player to the base game. You don't actually have to add the Big Mountain. So that's something to keep in mind if you like Mountain Goats. The Big Mountain expansion will allow you to add a 5th player. And boy, are those mountains crowded. We played it at 5. I played it at 5. I don't think Robert was in that game. I played it at 5 on Board Game Arena. And man, you've never seen so many goats in your life. I did get the Big Mountain expansion. This is what it looks like. It allows you to put goats. I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but it allows you to put goats on mountains that are dice where basically you add the dice up and you come up to numbers higher than 10 because the regular game only goes up to 10. So you have another way to score. Also, the Big Mountain expansion adds green goats. The 5th color is green, and that's by player color. So, yeah. Now, there's one thing I don't like about the physical copy of Mountain Goats. And this is a fast game. You just get the little cards and you just lay the numbers out, and cards are stacked in order at the end of the game when you pick them up. So you just lay them out and you've got the mountain laying there. But in 4 dice. But the thing is, see, there's the problem. The thing is, what takes time for setup is you need to be able to sort all of these coins, and there are different amounts for each value, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, into stacks above those mountains, which if you just have all of those little tokens plus bonus tokens, there's also some bonus tokens for the big mountain that are in here. But and you just stack them in front of that. If you have to sort all those out of a bag, then that adds considerably to setup time, sorting out the numbers and stacking them on the mountain. So I feel like that this thing should have come with some kind of little divider so that you can put your, the tokens there in order. And so I'm doing it this way, and it's a little iffy. I'm kind of holding them in place by stuffing the goats in there, and the dice go down on the side. But what I'm doing is I'm putting the flap of this plastic over there to kind of hold them in there, and that means that we have really fast, easy setup because I just take it out. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just lay those cards out for the mountain because there aren't that many of those like big tiles, and then I just take out the tokens and go ching, 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 ching on the stack. But yeah, I feel like that this thing needed some kind of a little tiny divider or something that would keep those tokens in a line so that it did come, I think it came with a bag, but most people probably bag the tokens, but I don't know, that just makes setup fiddly. And this is one of those fast dice checking games where you don't want fiddly setup. So yeah, we've been playing Mountain Goats both on the table, and we have not played Big Mountain yet, on the table and on Board Game Arena. And I haven't played Big Mountain on Board Game Arena either. We've also been playing Space Base on Board Game Arena and on the table. And I like this a lot. Space Base is one of those games that it's like once I played it, I kind of just got hooked on it and I just want to play Space Base. It's another dice checking game. I picked up a couple of expansions for it because at 2 players, playing it, I've played it at 3 and 4, and at 3, there's times where you're looking and everybody's going like, I can't get the ship that I need for that sector. I need a ship there. And there's none of those that are coming out. They're just not cycling out. But with the expansions, one of the ones that I've got will allow you to place ships in any sector. And some of them have colony cards that have special ongoing powers. So I got a couple of those. We have not had a chance to play it yet on the table. None of the expansions are available on Board Game Arena. So I'm looking forward to playing those because I think it will help out with the 2-player game because it will mean that we will have more good options coming up. Also, besides that, I know some of you are fans of Zapotec, and there are alternate player boards for Zapotec that I got from the Board Game Geek store, and they have the the priest corn and coin in different locations at various points. And they also swap around these things here where you have the stone, wood, and, oh gosh, I have the two things and I'm not sure I'm even showing the right ones. Yeah, these are the original boards. But they move where those bonus things are here on some of the tiles. They're in a different spot, and also the stone, wood, and brick things, those intersections are different. So those of you who are fans of Zapotec, if you are not already aware of this, and I kind of feel like with us talking about this game that somebody would have mentioned it. If you're not already aware of it, there are alternate boards that can give you a little bit of a difference. We have not yet played that either because weekends have been busy. It's spring. We are going places and doing things, and that means that, as you can see, small games hit the table just a tiny bit more. But it's been good catching up with you here on some of the things that we've been playing, and I still have more stuff to talk about, so hopefully maybe I can get out a few more videos. But I'm glad y'all joined me here around the table, and drop some comments and we can chat about board games in comments. I will see y'all next time around the table. Bye.